Hello, BookTube, and hello, Toby, one of my best viewers. I have a video here that's not really about books, which is kind of weird for this channel. Instead, it's about books that aren't yet written. They're coming. They will be written about this subject. Because tomorrow, in fact, Toby, probably by the time you see this video, early in the morning, before the sun comes up, a Mars lander, a robot, is going to be launched from the west coast of the United States into orbit. It's about the size of a rhinoceros, but it kind of looks like a dragonfly. It's got long, stilty legs, and the reason it looks like a dragonfly is because it has huge solar panels, flat solar panels that extend out once it lands, that look like a dragonfly's wings. And that lander is going to ride a rocket that's going to blast it out of Earth's gravity well, and then it will make the journey to the planet Mars. Mars is its destination. It will get there in November and land in a relatively flat, relatively smooth bed. So there won't be any boulders, there won't be any fissures. With any luck, it will just have a nice soft landing. And it's called the Insight Lander. And it's epic. It's an epic adventure that's about to start tomorrow. People are going to write books about it because it's history making in a lot of ways. The Insight Lander it weighs about 800 pounds, and it's full of scientific experiments that it is going to be able to perform once it lands on Mars. It's going to extend its legs, it's going to extend its arms, it's going to extend its solar panels because it's powered by the sun. So the landing spot that the space agency chose is on the equator of Mars, because Insight is designed to use only solar power and is built to live for an entire Martian year, which is 2 Earth years. And so it needs as much sunlight as it can get. Now, we don't know. NASA, the Space Administration, they have a tight budget, but they build these things really well. It's entirely possible that the Insight Lander will last a lot longer than 1 Martian year. But its purpose, Toby, is to figure out what's going on underneath the surface of Mars. To tell us about, for instance, whether or not Mars's core is liquid or solid. We don't even know that. And we've been looking at Mars for hundreds of years. We've been sending probes there for decades, and we don't know that. We don't know a whole lot about the inside of Mars, and that's the main purpose of most of the experiments on the Insight Lander, is to dig beneath the surface of Mars. It's going to have seismic probes that it will lodge into the ground that can detect earthquakes. Only since they're on Mars, they're called Marsquakes. And those probes will stay there and work long after the Insight Lander has stopped working to teach us what's going on in Mars. Is it seismically active? And to what extent is it? What's the nature of what's going on under the surface? Now, the number one question, of course, when it comes to Mars, for those of us who are not scientists are paying attention to other things. But you and me, our number one question is there anything on Mars that's actually alive? Is there life on Mars? Not Martians, not people, not intelligent beings. There obviously isn't an intelligent life on Mars. But are there, like, for instance, bacteria? Are there microbes that are living on Mars? Now, Mars is brutally cold. And it has such a thin atmosphere that it's swept by hard radiation all the time. So it's probably likely that there's no surface life on Mars. But microbes could live underground. And the Insight Lander will be better equipped than anything else we've ever landed on Mars to give some indication of whether or not that's true. And that's fascinating. So this thing is going to blast off before dawn. And if all goes well, if the blast-off goes well, if the escape out of Earth's atmosphere is really tricky. When you're riding a rocket that's as big as a building, a lot of things can go wrong. But NASA has done this a lot, and they very seldom fail. So if all goes well, and it makes the long trip to Mars and lands safely in November, then it will start to beam back information the like of which we have never seen. Isn't that exciting? Because the Earth's solar system, I'm talking to Toby here, but you can all eavesdrop. The center of the solar system is a star that is enormous, just incomprehensibly big. And the inner planets of that star, the 4 inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, are all rocky. They're all hard. They have cores and then crusts and mantles, and they have maybe the vestige of an atmosphere. They have some gravity. In Earth's case, Earth's atmosphere is so thick, and its magnetic sphere, sort of an invisible atmosphere, is so strong that it protects Earth enough for life to develop. Living things all over the Earth, in the water, in the air, on the land, plants and animals and microbes of all kinds. Nothing like that exists anywhere else in the solar system, or as far as we know, anywhere else, anywhere. And the other inner planets, Mercury and Venus and Mars, don't have anything like that. But they're complex in their own way, and they're not anything like the other planets. The further out you go, the bigger the planets get, and the less solid they get. They are gas giants, vastly bigger than Earth, but very different. You have to go way, way down deep to get to a solid core, and it's not like a planet in the term that we would understand it. It's very different. But these inner planets share a history. They are common. They have a lot in common. And that means that this probe will be studying a sibling, a brother planet. Mars is our brother planet. It's took a different path than Earth did a long time ago. Probably had oceans, lakes, might have even had life. We won't know. We'll be in a much better position to know that once InSight starts telling its stories. And all of that changed. Mars lost a lot of its atmosphere, lost a lot of its ability to maintain an environment that would give it water and, storms and whatnot. But it still has Mars quakes. And it still has a magnetic field. And all of this stuff is what the InSight lander is designed, has been designed for years. So much work has gone into this thing. It's been designed for years to tell us about that. What's going on the ground on Mars. And the reason I bring it up, aside from the fact that I'm incredibly interested in it, because it's fascinating, because it's Mars, is that people are going to write books about this. For sure they are. With luck, the InSight lander will make a soft, completely normal touchdown in November. And I wouldn't be surprised if no more than 2 or 3 months after that, maybe even as early as Christmas, the first book appears about the InSight mission, which is fascinating in its own right. And, oh my, in a year, there'll be many books. There'll be many, many books, unless something horrible goes wrong, but I don't think it will. So I wanted to make a video about that, about books that haven't been written yet, and to say hi to Toby, and also to convey my childish excitement about all things space exploration. I'll wrap this up for now, and I'll let you go. And next time we'll talk more about books. So I'll see you all. I'll see you too, Toby, later. Thank you, BookTube.